Hello everyone, it's a bit of an overcast day, so a perfect opportunity to do an update on Donald Trump's 100-day regime so far, and I've entitled it the Trump slump. And the first GDP figures on American growth are not great. It's a 0.03 contraction annualised. And the reason that the economy has shrunk in the first quarter is due to the fact that there's been a surge on imports because people are freaking out, importers specifically, about the tariffs and want to get a mass amount of goods in before they have to pay extra for the tariffs. Now, this is going to create an incredible distortion in the economy. There's going to be empty shelves coming soon, and we may well be in a situation where we've got a stagflation occurring in America. And stagflation is the worst economic news you could have because it is rising unemployment coupled with rising inflation. So the worst of both worlds. And I think you can say that you could put the blame to some degree on Biden administration because it is only 100 days still, but Trump has been so erratic with his policies that I think he's causing a lot of chaos and worry amongst businesses. So he's got to take at least partial blame for this. In the next 100 days of his regime, if he lasts that long, because there's no guarantees there in my opinion, but if he does, then he'll have to own that. And he doesn't like owning failure, but he's going to have to because his policies have already caused some major problems. I've already mentioned that by alienating himself from Canada, apart from losing a very close international friend, he has helped the Liberal Party, which was Justin Trudeau's party, to win the recent election. So it's going to make life even harder for any right of centre parties throughout the world, which will include Australia's. We have our election on Saturday in 24 hours' time, and this may well lead to a retention of a left-wing government in Australia because Trump is so much on the nose that he's tainting the brand of right of centre politics throughout the world. And, you know, he's done such an abysmal job. He's really affected Americans in so many ways. The American arms industry has been directly affected because people now don't trust America as a reliable ally, so they're not going to be buying as many American arms, and probably those purchases will go to places like Europe and South Korea. So it'll be their gain and America's loss. The other thing is, I think it's soybeans were being sold by the bucket load to China, and that trade has now finished because of tariffs and what have you. And so the farmers in America aren't happy with Trump either. And people in general aren't going to be happy when there's going to be empty shelves because there is a lag effect with these shipments, container shipments coming from China. It's a lag effect of about 30, 45 days at least. So the next 100 days is when people are going to really start feeling it with empty shelves and increased prices, and they will not be happy. So there are the first signs that there's a crumbling in the Trump administration. We've had one advisor already go in the military advising area. So that's one thing. It's not heads off. He should go, but this guy might be his boss. I'm not sure, but certainly we've had one casualty so far, and there'll be many more because it has been a shambolic regime so far. And never needed to be. It could have been so much better. But in the Rasmussen polls, there has been a dive in support. At one stage, Trump was almost in the positive again, but now it went down to about 11 negative overall, disapproval ahead of approval of him. It's now bounced back slightly to 8, -8, but it is not good news. And Rasmussen is regarded as a fairly conservative-friendly pollster. And they were accurate in the last election, so I think it's a valid one to use. But just keep in mind that, if anything, they would be generous towards Republicans. But I don't think Republicans are going to be very generous towards Donald Trump, because I think all of these things is going to really weigh heavily on the midterm elections, and I can see that the Democrats are going to probably sweep the House. Not that they've got anything to brag about. They're a shambolic mob themselves, and it's very sad democracy has slumped to this level where people that are middle of the road, common sense people, just don't seem to stand as candidates in Western elections these days. The quality of MPs has definitely dropped. I suppose we could say that there's been some slightly good news in the Ukraine front, in that the minerals deal has they've come to an agreement on that. Still has to be voted in by the Ukrainian parliament, but at the moment it seems a much more equitable agreement towards Ukraine. They get to hold on to the minerals. It's a 50-50 split with income, and the Americans provide the know-how to exploit the minerals. It won't have any effect upon Ukraine for many years to come, because if this war does cease fairly soon, it's still going to take years of rebuilding before investment in long-term minerals exploitation in Ukraine to take place. But before all that happens, is that Putin is hell-bent on pushing harder and harder with his military, which will probably lead to much greater chances of desertions taking place and mutinies. So watch this space, because the military in Russia are not happy chappies. They're doing it pretty tough, and of course the Ukrainians are defending their homeland, so they're much more motivated. So the mineral deal is a good step, but I wouldn't say that you could trust Trump as far as you can throw him. He seems to be a Putin-phile. He just loves the guy, and he just loves dictators. He's not really happy with democratic governments, probably because it's too hard for him. You actually have to work hard at negotiating with a democratic government, you know, if you ally with a place like Russia, you just basically go in and steamroll other countries and forget about what the rule of law says, and that much easier for someone like Trump. He obviously finds the judiciary a pain in the ass because they don't agree with him, unlike all the yes men around him. And it's so sad what has happened, because he could have been a great president, but now he's going to be down the other end of the scale, and people are already labelling him. People, mind you, who are dyed-in-the-wool Democrat supporters, because I'm watching quite a bit of those videos just to get a feel for how the other side feels. They are saying that he'll be regarded as the worst president that ever took office. That may be a bit over the top at this stage, but he's going to have to do a lot of mending of bridges to save his regime. But I have a feeling that he may be in cognitive decline. So just like with Biden, I think Trump may be out to lunch for the rest of his time in the Oval Office, and that may not be as much time as you think. I personally don't think it'll last more than another year, for whatever reason. And we'll see. We'll see if that prediction holds true. It's going to be a tough 4 years if he lasts the whole distance. I'm dreading that. He's done a couple of positive things. He's attacked DEI, and I think people should always be employed on merit, and that's where I really disagree with Democrats. Many Democrats. There are rational Democrats, but unfortunately they don't seem to be in ascendancy right now. And also, believing in the traditional roles of gender, just things that are common sense to most people, but not so with Democrats. So that's unfortunate. But for me, he's like I said, the Trump effect throughout the world has been that he's now undermining other potential right of centre parties winning elections. So that's an unexpected consequence. Other unexpected consequences: people in the northeast states of the US are now paying more for their electricity because Canada's not supplying them with cheap electricity anymore. So not only cheap oil is going to China, electricity is now more expensive for Americans. I think John Deere, the agricultural machinery producer, is laying off about 12,000 workers, and apparently Trump's not happy about that. But look in the mirror, Trump. You're the genius who came up with this brilliant tariff plan, aka tax, because that's all tariffs are. They're just another form of tax. And the transition that Trump wants is going to take decades to have manufacturing back in the US. And I don't think most of it will work anyway, because the US has gone beyond manufacturing as one of their major sectors. They're primarily a service industry country these days, providing intellectual property and other things like that at a higher level, which is how it should go for the high income country. But try telling him that. I seriously believe that we are on the cusp of a recession, and I don't think Trump will be able to save his presidency once that occurs, once people start losing jobs en masse. The housing industry is already showing major signs of slumps. House prices are dropping, and they're going to drop a lot more quickly in the near future. It's not going to be pretty, and I'll say being in Australia, we're actually in a much better position because we didn't have all that disruption with China for a start. And I think we're going to be in a stronger position. But he's really, really causing a lot of pain and misery in America, which was not needed. And we'll find out how much in the next 100 days. It's going to be very illuminating. I don't see, even if Trump goes, then we've got J.D. Vance, and I don't think he'd be any better. He could even be worse. And so I'm very pessimistic about the next 4 years, unfortunately. I'm hoping Ukraine will get a lot of support from Europe. America has actually decided to sell $50 million worth of military equipment to Ukraine, so that's a first for the Trump administration. But $50 million is a drop in the bucket. Remember, they wanted $50 billion worth of Patriot missiles for defence. So 50 million is just chomp change, really is. It's almost an insult. But I guess you've got to take it as a slight positive, and maybe it'll be ramped up. But I personally believe that the future of Ukraine's security is in the hands of primarily Germany and the rest of Europe. So anyway, look, I hope you enjoyed this and found it informative. And please give me a thumbs up and comment on this video if you've got differing opinions. I'm happy to hear them. And please consider subscribing. I just can't get off the 940 subscriber mark. It'd be nice to move closer to that elusive 1K. So thank you for that, and thanks for watching.